This is the first video that I've done two takes on, and it's because the title's not that deep, and I ended up going pretty deep on the first take. And I was like, I need to redo this. Um, so I spent like 3 years of my life um, with this developing this kind of worldview and thought process that really was, I think, because I was seeking answers, but it was really heavy, and it was heavy-hearted, and it was um, almost like Eeyore-ish. It had this thought process of like, if you're gonna do anything great in life, you need to. Um, it's gonna be really freaking hard, and the thing is, what I found in looking back over my life and the times where my endeavors were most successful. And if you don't know, I run a YouTube channel called Zealous, and it's an entertainment YouTube channel, and I took a long break from it for this very reason. But what I found is when I was bearing the most fruit in life, and I really value flourishing. I think every human should not be just surviving, but thriving. I think every person should not, be fruitless, but flourishing, and should be um, in the active pursuit of human flourishing, which I believe is the first great commission in Genesis, where the Father says, "Go, be fruitful and multiply, rule and subdue, like take dominion over the earth." And that really means like we're order creators. We are multipliers. We are meant to bear fruit. And so when I look at these times in my life where I was flourishing, I was like, I was having the most fun. I was feeling the most sense of belonging, and I was creating the most sense of belonging in others. And when I was really not being fruitful, and I'm not saying that the level of challenge was different. Like, the level of challenge was still fairly high. It's just that what I found is that almost adds to the fun. That almost adds to the adventure. And what I found is in looking back, when I was the most fruitless, it was when I kind of carried I was like, in order to get to the next level of whatever I'm doing, whatever that even means, uh, I I need to like throw that away, and I need to get really serious and take life really seriously. Um, and you've probably even seen that like reflected in a few of these videos. And I might even be contradicting myself a little bit, because I feel like this is what the Lord is actively teaching me right now. Um, is that it's not that deep. Just have fun. Having fun is such a competitive advantage. And you shouldn't even have fun because of that's the case, but it's just true. When you have fun, you feel safe, so you act quicker, you take more risk. When you have fun, you feel more connected and more belonging. Your heart is more full and joyful. And guys, these are all things that are totally congruent to creativity and production, which is like a version of fruitfulness. Um, so that's one thing that like I am so excited to live into in my life, is just to understand it's not that deep. I was asking a friend on the 4th of July. They are a young couple and they just got married. I was like, I tend to be a curious and inquisitive person. And I was like, well, what's the biggest thing that you learned in the first year of marriage? And I was, I've asked that same question to so many couples. And, um, I've heard people say compromise and like all these like words that pretty much treat marriage as like a negotiation. And he was like, just have fun. It's not that deep. And this is a guy he's like 21, super successful guy at a young age. But even more than like what metrics would define that success, even more so, I think he's just successful in life because we were just playing volleyball. We were just having a blast. We were trash talking each other. We were, just talking about, I think we might go like smoke cigars sometime soon. If that offends you, I'm so sorry, but I think the occasional cigar is so fun with the guys around a fire. It's something that creates a sense of like, oh, I can just like pour my heart out. That's what a fire does for for gents. So sorry if that offends you, but I love it, man. And so I was just thinking back on that. I'm like, man, that might be the best advice I've received. When it comes to that realm, because um yeah, I mean, don't like, maybe I'm an idealist, but I think that marriage, whenever I get married, Lord willing, like I wouldn't want it to be a negotiation. I wouldn't want it to be a burden. I wouldn't want 1 + 1 to equal 2 or even 1.5. I want 1 + 1 to equal 11, and that's such a synergistic like dance. And I'm like, not to use two words that are too fruity, but like, dude, like life is meant to be lived. It's for freedom's sake that we were set free. And I'm looking out at this beautiful morning sunrise over this creek that sometimes turns into a river when it rains hard, in front of my house. And I am just like, I'm seeing, look at all these teeming plants that are just planted by the river of water. And it makes me think of Psalm 1, which says, blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the path of sinners, nor sits in the seat of scoffers. Like, guys, think of a scoffer. And it's interesting, the progression. It goes like wicked, sinner, scoffer. You'd think that'd go the other way around. Like, you'd think that, like, oh, you start with scoffing and then you go into being a sinner and then you turn wicked. But it's like, no, like scoffing is like one of the worst things. And it takes all the fun and joy out of life, where you're just like, you see someone, maybe like dancing their heart out at a concert, and you just scoff at them, because you're probably insecure in yourself. I think that's an interesting progression in that verse, but it says, blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the path of sinners, nor sits in the seat of scoffers, but his delight is in the law of the Lord. Like, think of the word delight for a second. Like, it's like eating a cupcake. I love cupcakes. Oh my gosh, they're so freaking good. I do count my calories, and dude, you'd be surprised at how much dessert you could fit into a day. Dude, his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law he meditates day and night. Guys, this isn't a picture of striving, because next it says, he will be like a tree planted by rivers of water, which bears fruit in its season. And I believe it even says in every season, and whose leaf will not wither. And oh my gosh, like is this something, does a tree have to like try to grow if it's in the wrong environment? And this verse is all about environment. And guys, I would just encourage you, like, look for environments that are just good, clean fun, that are childlikeness and play, and are joy and peace. The fruits of the Spirit are gifts: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control, which means that they can be received today. And Galatians 5 says that there's no law against these gifts. And in fact, let me read that. But like this life is meant for love and for belonging, and yes, challenge, and yes, our faith is tested. But what a blessing that the Lord uses all things for good, that when we experience challenges in life, it actually has a way of gluing us to each other as friends, as a community. It's beautiful. That in the hard times, it's almost the most fruitful times because of these truths that are ours. And there's so much common grace that the Lord bestows on the world that even unbelievers get to experience this. Like, what? Like, even if you're in a war-torn country and you're not a Christian, you get to experience a weird camaraderie that grows in the hardship. And that's coming from someone, I've never experienced war. But I've been friends with a lot of people who have, and what they say is that those were some of the best times in their life. How? Joy. Joy. Jesus endured the cross for the joy set before him. And he really valued childlikeness. So Galatians 5. I didn't even know this verse was here. The first verse is, "For freedom Christ has set us free. Stand firm, therefore, and do not submit again to a yoke of slavery." Guys, if you feel like weary and heavy burdened, that's not the Lord's will for your life. It's not the Lord's will for your life in your work. It's not the Lord's will for your life in your everyday. And you don't even really, you might not even really have to change anything. There are situations to get out of, but you can receive these gifts right now. So I want to make sure that I don't go too deep into this, because I'm going to keep this one a little bit shorter. But for you were called to freedom, brothers. Only do not use your freedom as an opportunity for the flesh, but through love serve one another. For the whole law is fulfilled in one word: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Guys, what a blessing. Like, this is an opportunity. There's this proverb that says, "He who refreshes others will himself be refreshed, and he who gains friends must himself be friendly." And so our freedom isn't so that we could serve ourselves and live that's such a small story. Our freedom is so that we could be a part of a much bigger story. And that's really another theme of like these groups that are so fulfilling. I don't know if I mentioned it, but essentially I'm reading this book called The Culture Code, and it talks about how safety is the number one predictor of success in teams, like a feeling of psychological safety and belonging. And they actually gave, as a test, 20 sticks of spaghetti and a marshmallow and some tape and some yarn to like a bunch of different groups: college students, CEOs, athletes, pastors, whatever. But they also gave it to kindergartners, and they're like, build the tallest tower in 5 minutes. And the kindergartners always built the tallest tower. And there's no status seeking. There was no who's the leader. There's no can I say this. It's just like short bursts of communication, and let's get into it. Let's roll up our sleeves and let's have fun building a spaghetti tower. And it's messy. And there's been so many times that I've had people kind of look at maybe what I was building from the outside and be like, it's messy. Oh man, I had some pretty crazy comments from people about my YouTube channel. But what I found is that it's the heart that matters. The Lord looks at the outside. The human looks at the outside, but the Lord looks at the heart. And so, what does it say here? But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law. And those who belong to Christ Jesus have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. Guys, the coolest thing is that we don't actually do the work of crucifying our flesh. Jesus already did the work of crucifying our flesh. Like when we accepted Jesus, we died with him and we rose with him. If we live by the Spirit, let us also keep in step with the Spirit. Let us not become conceited, provoking one another, envying one another. So guys, this is really just by faith, and it's just such a blessing. So anyway, what does it say in Psalm 1, just to finish up? He is like a tree, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. He is like a tree planted by streams of water that yields its fruit in its season. It says in its season. I guess it's not every season, but the timing of the Lord is perfect, guys. And its leaf does not wither. So I guess it could mean it yields fruit in its season, because if its leaf doesn't wither, then that means that it does keep its leaf throughout every season. So I don't know what different translations of this are, but really it's just a picture of flourishing. It is a picture of flourishing. In all that he does, he prospers. How cool is that? For the Lord knows the way of the righteous. So guys, just joyfully seek the Lord today. like, live with joy. You don't have to wait. And I think maybe one of the best pieces of advice that I've received is show up and start now. Like, if you've felt like you're not living with joy and that there's some sort of prerequisite that needs to happen before you can live with joy, I would challenge that and say the God of the universe lives inside of you, and he's already given you his spirit, his Holy Spirit that takes up dwelling in your heart. And the fruits of the Spirit are a gift to be received. And so receive them today and live joyfully. It's not that deep. Don't take things too seriously, you know? Of course, like know your values, but one thing that I feel like the Lord's teaching me to value is simplicity of heart, childlikeness, fun, joy, adventure, and even messy progress. All progress is messy. You wouldn't look at a sculptor and say, why is there so much dust on the ground? Why are there chunks of rock on the ground? Like, your workstation is so messy. I could do so much better than this. You would say, oh no, he's making a masterpiece. And so that's the joy of life. It's always a masterpiece, and it's always a masterpiece in the making, and we just get to have a ton of fun in the process. So that's what I feel like the Lord's teaching me. And if you did something fun this week, or if you have something fun planned this week, let me know in the comments. And if you don't, man, plan something. Let's do something. And if I'm serving at a conference this week, and I'm just gonna have so much fun. And I get to hang out with high school aged kids, and I just get to have a blast with them and make them feel like they belong, that they are children of God, that they are blessed, and that they're just inherently valued and inherently loved without doing anything, just because of who they are, which I'm so excited for. So that is my week. Let me know yours. I'm gonna go. I hope you have an awesome day. I will see you tomorrow.